what's up? I'm Rena Parisi, and I'm a writer slash animator. That's a really good question. Writing hands down. I feel like animating is something I got involved with just because I love storytelling so much, and I was always known to draw, so to put those two together, it just kind of made sense, but writing is something that's always come naturally, and that's the real storytelling process for me, so I feel like a lot of people know me for my drawing abilities rather than my writing, but writing is where I want to be at. I think I've always done what I do to connect. I know a lot of people do it for connection. I feel like I grew up in a household that was very, I didn't really have a say in anything, and I really couldn't talk to anyone, and I was very quiet in the house and very loud outside the house, so the only way I think I always planned on like writing letters to my parents to get things across, and so I think writing started as a survival thing. I think it's a survival thing even still, where like it's just my release, so it's the only way I feel like I can connect in the right way. I think I grew up just reading children's books, actually. That's what I really wanted to do at first. I was like, oh my goodness, I can draw, tell the story, got the rhyme scheme, got the flow, like this feels really good. And I think as I got older, not to get like this, but life just got darker, and I remember taking children's book class and even the teacher being like, I don't know if you're made for kids, and I was just like, yeah, I think you gotta trust the kids more, because we were reading scary stories to tell in the dark, and we see everything our parents talk about at a young age, so kind of trying to like mix this whimsical, childlike idea with I don't even want to say adult, but just universal writing for everybody. I don't know. I think my background, I would say, is just like reading those children's books and then bringing it into now and to not being a child anymore. I don't know, I think, this sounds gross, but just getting bored hearing, I think, other stories like about things that aren't so, that I don't feel connected to. I think a lot of my storytelling and even my character designs they're very inhumane. They're not things you'd see in nature, because I think being surrounded by everything so much, everything is an escape in a way. So when I make stories or when you're performing, you don't have to stay in the confines of what you see around you. And it's kind of cool to have people relate to creatures that don't even exist and to words that, they're not thinking about all the time. And I think like it's my way to kind of just mess around. I don't know, like forever. Like it's my way to just like create whatever I want forever, which is pretty selfish, but I mean, hey. I think it's kind of funny because I just started trying to perform a little bit of like poetry recently on stage, and it's kind of nice feeling the silence, like people, like I don't know, I feel like in the silence after I perform, that's people connecting. I think like the earliest I ever felt something with writing, or like I could do it, was in 8th grade. We had to write poems, and me and my kind of stepbrother at the time, we spent all night writing our poems, and the next day the teacher kept us after class and said like that she thought we plagiarized them, but we were just so into writing that I don't know, like we told her like no, sincerely, and I don't know, I think it was the first time I felt like, wow, like we really are a part of something that is artistic, and like we really like to tell these stories, and we spent time making sure the words flow together. And I think like having the reaction of like, wow, like you can do this kind of thing, I think. I want them to feel like they don't have to say so much, I don't feel like they gotta be like, wow, this and that. I like people to quiet down and really think about it, and I like the shock value. I don't do it for the shock value, but to have people think more in a different way, I guess. Yeah, I just want people to feel like they really need to listen. I mean, when I listen to certain poetry or certain music, I cry. I don't need people to cry for my stuff, but if you could just be saying something without having a conversation and you can feel something from just that, that's like creating a visual, and that's art enough for me, and that's just as much as animation or drawing. So I just want people to feel, that's it, because I always wanted to feel, and I always felt from writing, so it's like giving it back. When I was younger, I would have said, and I think I'll say the same thing, I always wanted to meet Jim Carrey. I'm not gonna let that, he's become a little bit like controversial these days, I guess, but I feel like he's always been that way. And I think if I had to like pinpoint someone, it would definitely be him, because like his mindset and the way that he lets loose in a movie, and like besides just growing up with the comedic factor of him, and just like, I think there's always so much more, and I learn a lot from comics in general, because I know there's a lot more. There's like such a truth and darkness to laughter, and I think like pairing those together helps my writing all the time, and I think he's just one of those people for me. Besides Shel Silverstein, who is not alive, but his children's books had me in the mindset from a very young age that I don't like things to be symmetrical, and I don't believe in the balance, because all of his art is very skewed. It looks very crumbled, and it looks very childlike. And I think I bring that into today, like, I don't know, I feel like everybody's looking for the balance and everything becomes so clean and chic and modern, but there is such a beauty to everything being so torn. You can see it on Instagram right now. It's at Renapsable, Renapsable. If they want to check my Vimeo, it's just at Rena Parisi, but I haven't updated in a while because it is my animation, but I just want to start performing a lot more at open mics and working with other, even musicians, to put music and writing together, because that's where I feel the most, so. That's a really good question. My honest answer is I wasn't immersed in animation before I started animating. Animating to me was, I went to this pre-college program at School of Visual Arts, and I was just like, I could do this. I like the storytelling aspect and everything, kind of like I was saying before, but I mean, if I had to pick things like Flapjack, Misadventures of Flapjack, I think like Courage the Cowardly Dog, that vibe, but I was never really inspired by animation to animate. I was more inspired by old films I used to watch with my mom, like March of the Wooden Soldiers, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, like Sound of Music, like really like old film noir and all that. Like, I feel like that had more almost animation in it that I was looking for. Is that a weird answer? So when people ask me cartoons, I'm always like, no, you tell me. Just because I animate doesn't mean I'm even close to a cartoon master. So, yeah.